Guys, it's Chelsea here. Lizzie could not make it to this video today, she's a bit busy, so you are stuck with me, unfortunately. But today we thought we would start up a new series, deviate a bit from the natural head thing that we've had going on, and the series is called Let's Talk About, and we're going to kickstart that by talking about third culture kids, like myself and like Lizzie. So, I thought I'd just start off by telling you a bit about myself. I was born in Nigeria. Lizzie and I are both, our parents are both Nigerian, we're Nigerian. But I was born in Nigeria and we lived there for the first 6 years of my life, after which we moved to Saudi Arabia. Now, I don't remember much about Nigeria because obviously I was only 6 when we moved away. I don't remember much from anything below the age of like 8. I don't really recall anything. But we moved to Saudi Arabia and we've lived there for 13 years. I use quotation marks, air quotations, because we have moved around quite a bit whilst living in Saudi. For example, we moved to the US, moved to Florida, stayed there for about 1 year if I remember correctly. And then Katrina hit and we were evacuated to Texas. We stayed in Texas for about 2 months and then we moved back to Saudi because, to be honest, I don't remember why. I just remember being told that we were moving back to Saudi. But we moved back to Saudi and then I moved to England for high school and eventually university. So I've lived here for about 5 or 6 years now. I have moved around quite a bit in my life, and when people ask me the question, you know, where are you from, or where are your parents from, where do you call home, I tend to stammer quite a bit because it's a bit of a complex question. I am Nigerian, obviously. Lizzie and I are both Nigerians. We tend to say Nigerian when we're asked that question. But I feel like I'm not including all the different cultures that I've, you know, been exposed to, or that I've lived in all the different countries. It's not that I feel like I don't have a place to call home, because some people tend to tell me that, like, oh, you're not too sure where your home is. No, I know where my home is. I'm from Nigeria. That's my home. I'm gonna return there when I get older. I'm probably gonna return back to Nigeria. But I do think there's some great, you know, benefits or great things about being a third culture kid, because, you know, some people tend to say, oh, you didn't have a stable, like, childhood, you didn't have a stable home or something, or, you know, maybe you were moving around so much you couldn't make any friends. I have a lot of friends. I have friends from all around the world. May have some trouble maintaining the relationships just because of the distance, but I do have a lot of friends spread out across the world. That's one of the good points, one of the good things about being a third culture kid, being multicultural. And another thing is, I find that a lot of people still in this day and age are quite small-minded about other cultures, or some of them, a very small percentage of the world. Some people are actually a bit xenophobic. That means that they don't like foreigners. And I think when you travel a lot, when you're exposed to so many cultures, it does sort of rid you of any possibility of being small-minded or about, you know, different cultures. Because you've seen so many people, you've seen so many cultures. I've seen a lot from the Arab culture, lived in Saudi, seen a lot of the American culture. I have sort of absorbed some of that into my own, you know, everyday life and my culture. Although there are some bad points, I suppose, to, you know, being a third culture kid. It is a bit difficult to, you know, settle. Only because you're always moving around, you're always having to make new friends. I remember every time I had to move around and move to a new school, I would dread it so badly because I really, really hated having to make new friends. I didn't like change a lot when I was little, which was unfortunate because, you know, everything changed quite a bit. And I think a lot of third culture kids, especially those in the West, tend to not know a lot about their heritage. Like there's some Nigerian kids whose parents are Nigerian that I've met in the US who have no idea whatsoever. They have this weird idea that, first of all, that Africa is one country. I've actually met someone who genuinely thought that Africa was just a country. They tend to believe things like we all live in huts in Africa, or there's no running water, there's no electricity, we all walk around in loincloths. It sounds very exaggerated, but there are some people who actually believe these things, and it's just sad because these people, their parents are actually from Nigeria, they're from Africa, and because they just never were educated about, they just never found out anything about their heritage, they just tend to believe whatever, you know, they see on the media, or just whatever their friends tell them, and it's just a bit unfortunate and sad, really. I think the world is becoming a lot more multicultural. People are traveling more and they're just being exposed to different people, to different cultures, and that's a great thing. I think it's fantastic because the more you do that, the more you learn, and the less small-minded you are. This has been a video about small-mindedness. So yeah, that was just the first talk in this series. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like us to talk about, do, you know, comment, put it down in the link, or shoot us an email or tweet. We do have a Twitter. Tweet something at us and we will consider it. So from Lizzie, who's not here, from Lizzie and I, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you later. Bye!